so I have a cookie for dessert, and I was like, I need something to drink. I'm like, well, a beer. So I'm channeling my father-in-law. All right, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Scattercast. Sorry, we took a little brief hiatus. We got some real life stuff going on, nothing major, but just slowing down production for a little bit. But we wanted to get on here and talk about some Magic. The newest set has dropped, the Forgotten Realms, the Adventures in the Forgotten Realms, and we picked that up a couple days ago. And
Crossover of all crossovers.
yeah, some D&D and Magic, some chocolate and peanut butter crossovers. But also some news broke today. Was it today? A couple days ago?
No, it's been a couple days. I noticed something on Twitter, and then I confirmed it today. So
cool. So news to us about Magic Arena. So we'll pretty much just do the Magic Arena thing first, and then kind of talk about the newest set. I have some questions because I'm always the noob coming into Magic. So there's a few things that I figure if I have a question about it, other people might have questions about it too. So we'll just jump into the episode. This might be a quick one, or it'll be a long one, depending on how much we ramble on. So
right.
Because side note, we've already been talking for like 45 minutes before we started recording, which is cool.
It happens.
It happens. So, but Ray, you sent me a text today, actually just before we jumped on and started recording, that some new stuff is heading to Arena, and
yeah. So out of the two,
out
of the two of us, I'm obviously the resident Arena player. I don't think you've played Arena yet.
I'm going to probably get it. I've been thinking about getting it. I need a new phone. My phone's getting it's getting an old yell at it and bring it to the worry mom. It's my dog. I'll gotta bring it. It's starting to get like hot all the time. I don't even run.
Mine was doing that. Yep.
Yeah. I don't run Strava on it anymore. I just use my watch now just to keep as many apps, the least amount of apps running at once. So I might get Arena as like a cool post new phone, something to dive into. So we'll have lots of.
Is it not available on Mac?
I'm sure it is. I'm running the 7, so I have a feeling that it's going to be. It was like when Pokemon Go came out, and I had like an old school like LG.
Okay.
And I would literally like I'd drive around because I used to have a night job. And I would put the phone up against the air vent and blow cold air on it so I could search for Pokemons and to keep my phone from melting. And it's like the same thing with this, where it's like, it's so old, it probably will work, but but if you want to jump into I can look up the specs for see if it actually will work. But
I know at one point in time they were talking about that they were going to have a Mac, like a Mac OS version for it, and then obviously it came out mobile a couple months ago, whatever.
Also, Arena's new then, right? I thought this
Arena's been out for a couple years, but it was solely PC, and then it went to like I said, I don't remember when said they were going to release it for Mac. I don't have a Mac, so.
Well, there is Magic the Arena. Welcome the challenge. Oh, there's 2 of them. So
yeah, you're looking for. Well, we could talk about that. Make sure you're in the. Yeah, that top one, Magic the Gathering Arena. But I'm talking about for the actual computer, like your Mac.
You don't play on your
Mac
phone?
Computer. I do occasionally, but I feel like the interface is just a little bit. I feel like on the phone there's more opportunities for what we call like misclicks and mistakes to happen. That's just things that in a normal game of Paper Magic, like you would never do. So something like accidentally skipping your attack phase.
Okay.
Like you're not going to in Paper Magic just plain like shit, I forgot the attack, but it's possible to accidentally skip completely past your attack phase or click the wrong card. But then the flip side of that, though, is that there's a lot of things in Magic Arena that make things easier. Things like any kind of tutors. So like, go through your deck and find a certain card. Like it automatically comes up on there. You don't have to shuffle. And so that's nice, which is going to lead full circle into what I want to talk about, which is basically Arena is coming out on August 12th. They're releasing a digital only or arena only set called Jumpstart Historic Horizons.
Nice.
So that's a mouthful. So we'll dissect each piece. So Jumpstart, for those that aren't familiar, you'll be familiar with it. Is Jumpstart is that that format where you take two slightly randomized decks and put them together and make one deck. So it might be like goblins and flyers, or spells, whatever. And there's multiple deck lists for each one. So like I know like in the original Jumpstart there was Phyrexians, but there was a few different versions of Phyrexians you can get. And so you can have things like Phyrexians, like the Phyrexians deck, and then you can get the Flyers deck, whatever, and you mix those together.
Cool.
And then you play that way. Then they have so that's the Jumpstart part of it. So they're coming out with another Jumpstart for Arena, which is fucking dope, dude, because I loved playing Jumpstart on Arena because it was so easy. It was like you logged in. It was forgive me because I don't ever pay things. I don't ever use gems. Arena has two different kinds of currencies. They have gems, which you have to pay money to get gems, or there's coins, and you get coins from completing daily objectives, winning events, stuff like that. You can win gems from, but that's here and there. The main thing is, like, for the most part, you have to buy gems with money. You get coins from playing the game. And so it's 2,000 coins to enter, or however many gems to enter. And when you enter the game or enter the match, it pops up 3 like random, so like Phyrexians, flyers, whatever, dragons.
Okay.
So you pick your first one, and then it auto generates another 3 for you to pick, and then you pick, and then that's how it gets your 2 decks to mesh together. So I loved playing it. Every time I got 2,000 coins, I would jump into that freaking Jumpstart format while it was going on. And the reason why is because you win cards that are just from that Jumpstart set. So either a rare or mythic rare that are only from that Jumpstart set. But on top of that, when you get, like, say, going back to the Phyrexians and goblins, or flyers, dragon, whatever those 2 packs are that you open, you get those cards added to your collection. So it was just a cool way to add more cards to your collection and stuff like that. That's fun. So that's the first part. That's the Jumpstart part. The second part is historic. So it's called Jumpstart Historic Horizons. Historic is Arena's version of a Eternal format. On Arena, for those that don't know, you don't have anything like Legacy. You don't have Vintage, obviously, and you don't have Modern. All you have is Standard and some of, like, the weirder formats like Artisan and Pauper and stuff like that. And then you have what's called Historic. And Historic is everything that has been available on Arena up to this point. So it's been out for a couple of years now. So you have all the way back to a certain point in Arena when Arena started. And also they have come out with some things that you can buy on Arena. So they're anthologies. I think they've had 4 or maybe 5 of them by now. And they're just they call them historic anthologies, where they introduced older cards into Arena for you to be able to have a wider range and that more diverse card pool, because you're not just playing with the standard cards that are available. You're playing with everything that has been available on Arena up to this point. And then they use those options to introduce new cards.
Cool.
And then the Horizons part of it comes from the fact that they've had the Modern Horizons set that is that weird set that just came out a couple months ago.
Yeah.
And so and on that they're so with that they're using this opportunity to introduce cards from Modern Horizons and Modern Horizons 2 into the format to even inject more cards into the card pool.
Wow. Okay.
So that was a huge mouthful, and I want to get through this because I want to get into the meat and potatoes of what this episode was supposed to be about, which is the Forgotten Realms. But just to do a quick rundown, and sorry, I'm looking away. I'm going off the computer here, but it says arriving August 12th on MTG Arena Jumpstart Historic Horizons adds hundreds of cards from Modern Horizons 2, and beyond, alongside 31 new to Magic cards in this digital release. So that's where the rub comes and where there's controversy and people that are excited. So with every fandom, there's going to be the people that are accepting of it and then the controversy of it. The controversy of it is that they're adding 31 cards to Arena that are digital only, meaning these are Magic cards that are only going to exist on Arena. The main reason for that is because they added 3 new mechanics that are kind of hard to track or even make possible in Paper Magic, and I'll run down those real quick.
Okay.
And then I'll say my piece about it, and then we'll go on from there.
Okay.
So it says, these cards feature mechanics made for MTG Arena, extending what's possible with digital play. So the first mechanic is a mechanic that's called Seek. Seek is powerful tutors grab a random card from your deck that matches specific criteria. No shuffling, no time spent looking at the different options in your deck. So one of the examples that I saw earlier was like you play this card and they're going to go and seek out a card in your library among the most prevalent creature type that you have. So if you're playing a deck that's got 6 goblins and 10 elves, it's going to go and seek out a random elf from your deck. But the cool thing about it is that you're not spending the time looking for that. And unlike regular tutors, where most tutors say you go and look for X, and then that either goes in your hand or goes onto the top of the library, but you have to shuffle your library after finding that card. So this takes that out. So if you have any top deck manipulation, so ways of knowing what's on the top of your deck, if you use that Seek mechanic, it's not going to upset that card that's on the top. That card that you knew was on the top is still going to be there. So that's kind of different. That's kind of cool. That's kind of cool. The next one, and this is the one I can see would definitely make things a little bit harder in Paper Magic, is the keyword perpetually. And so perpetually means it's permanently changing the characteristics of a card. And I'm gonna dig a little bit deeper on that aspect in a second here. But permanently changes the characteristics of a card no matter where it goes afterwards. So it may be something like, target creature gets +1, +2 perpetually, which means that creature dies and goes into the graveyard, or if it goes in your hand or whatever, that creature for the whole rest of that game is always going to have that +1, +2. And then they have probably, which is one of the most exciting things of this, which is Conjure, which Conjure creates cards out of thin air. Meaning that you might have a card that says, when you do X, create a Shivan Dragon. That's like creating the actual card to go. So not like a token. The actual card.
You have the card now. Yeah.
So, like I said, with this comes some controversy. The automatic thing that people are going to go to with this is they're just making Arena more like Hearthstone, or doing digital only cards now. This is like, and it's does this signal the end or the demise of Paper Magic and stuff like that? We always get these questions and things every time. So here's my take on it, and I'm going to talk about that perpetually the thing of permanently changing the characteristics of a card. So a few weeks ago on Arena, they did um, it was an event where it was something about like villains, like MTG villains are now good or whatever. And what they did is they unbanned all these different cards that were banned throughout Magic's, not Magic, but like banned on Arena. Things like Oko, was it Field of the Damned, stuff like that. But what they did was they made those cards legal, but they changed them. So it was like
that's how they made them
either legal. They either like made the mana cost more.
Yeah.
Or like on Oko, like instead of it being like a +1 ability, it was like a -1 ability. So it wasn't so powerful. So they were able to digitally alter and change these Magic cards. Me personally, and we've had these discussions throughout the Magic community. I know on the podcast Solely Singleton, they talked about this and how Legends of Runeterra, which is a digital card game on the computer, it might be another, but it's on the computer. That's one of the things that's so cool about it is that instead of always having all these bannings, like you get these cards, people buy into them, and it's like and then all of a sudden, boom, bam. And it's like, dude, when it's digital, like they can just like make a facelift on it. Like, that card that was like maybe it was a 6/6 creature. Well, maybe they change it to 4/5, and that's all that it mattered or whatever. So I think that's cool that they're kind of working within that space on Arena. Now, the caveat to that is everybody's going to be like, well, this signifies the end of Paper Magic. If this would have happened in 2019, I would have been scared. I would have been scared that this happened. 2020 pandemic hits, and Magic the Gathering, paper-wise, has the greatest year it ever had. It's financially in a time when we couldn't get together and do the gathering part of Magic. So if you ever thought that like, okay, a digital version of something was going to take off and like eclipse the
it would have been during the perfect scenario.
I don't think that we're there. And the other part of me, and this might be a hot take or whatever, is I kind of feel like the more removed you make Arena from Paper Magic,
the better.
Like having these options like, we can change cards digitally or we can make cards only for digital, so be it. Then that means that's just making it that much of a different game than the paper game. So you don't have somebody that's going, well, I can play this version of it, but why play this version of it when I could just play this version on the computer? And it's like, well, this version on the computer is a lot different. It's more video gamey than the paper version. So I don't know. We could look back on this and it may not age well. Like Paper Magic could be doomed within the next 2 years, we'll all say, but I just don't think it is. I mean, like I said, I will continually point to a year where we couldn't get together and play tabletop Magic. We couldn't play Paper Magic. We couldn't go to stores and play Friday Night Magics. And Magic the Gathering had its best financial year fucking ever in the history of this game.
If anything,
so that just goes to show that the tabletop, the
casuals. And I'm sure that, I mean, the thing is that Wizards of the Coast, doesn't Wizards of the Coast own Magic?
Yeah.
Or is it just like a Wizards of the Coast? Like they're owned by Hasbro.
Wizards of the Coast is they're owned by Hasbro.
They're owned by Hasbro, which is a company founded on people getting together and playing stuff. I think obviously the free market will sort out which is the best one, but I don't think I don't think a company the size of Wizards, as Hasbro as their parent company, is going to disrupt that much revenue to pick one over the other. And it's like you said, if you can do updates, we're used to, like, digital video games exist. We've been playing those for almost 20 years, maybe, in some form. Probably not, maybe actually physically, actually realistically, maybe like 10 years.
Right.
Or a little over, but PCs, you know what I mean? PC game world. They've had updates and stuff like that. So it's like updates are what give things longevity, and having a completely different way to play, So and it's like you look at I think about it this way. Not everybody, is on the same wavelength with the game that they like at the same time. If we were going away to college, we might have a couple commander decks and then that's it, and then play on the computer because we're in a dorm, we don't have the time, we don't want a bunch of shit, you know what I mean? Or we're moving to a new city, a new state, we want to consolidate our stuff. Not everybody. Or you're more or less like us, you have a house, you have the room, you have disposable income, you want the collectible thing in your hand, you know what I mean? So you just kind of fit the one that you want to do and support the one you want to exist. I mean, that's the bottom line. If you don't want, Arena to eclipse Paper, don't play Arena.
That's always my thing. Yep. That's been my mantra since day one. And haters gonna hate, leave a comment. I don't give a shit. But if you don't like something about Arena, don't play it. If there's something that comes out on, in Paper, we're getting ready to talk about Adventures in the Forgotten Realms, something that me and you have been very excited about. Maybe somebody hates the freaking idea of Dungeons and Dragons cards crossing over, or Dungeons and Dragons lore crossing over to. Don't buy it.
Don't buy it.
Take a couple months off and wait for the next product, because Lord knows, Magic got, like we just talked about this on a couple Magic sets ago, where I'm in a time where I could use some extra money financially. And I also don't have just the time to play Paper Magic like I used to. I mean, I can play Spell Table with you, and I once COVID's maybe, we were seeing a light at the end of the tunnel. Maybe we could make the argument that light may be dimming right now, but God forbid, when I get to play with friends again, that's still only maybe once or twice a month at best. And so I was talking to you one night about having a lot of really expensive cards and being like, dude, I could really offload maybe like 20 or 30 of these cards, and pay some bills off, and boost up my savings account by not like hanging on to some of this stuff that I'm not even playing with. And I had this anxiety of like, well, it feels like I'm buying, and I'm like, dude, the reason why I don't play with half the shit I have is because you could totally today, so July 27th, you could decide I am out of Magic. I quit. I'm just going to play Arena. I'm selling off all my Paper Magic, and I'm deciding right now on July 27th that I'm out of Magic. And then you could have regrets, and January of 2022 decide that you're buying back in and completely reload. Almost back to where you were, because of the just sheer number of product that Wizards is releasing lately. I mean, me and you had a text chain going the other day about how I used to buy. Sometimes they had 5, sometimes they had 4, but I bought anywhere from 4 to 5 Commander Precons every year since I think 2010 or 2011 was the first year that they created the Commander Precons.
Yeah.
Now all of a sudden, since Ikoria Precons came out to now these 4 discs came out, that's 17. That's 17 new Commander Precons that came out in essentially one calendar year, a little over one calendar year.
That's what got me into it.
It's so easy to reload in this. So take and like now there's going to be one person be, well, if you're playing competitively and tough shit. But you know what? I'll make the argument that if you're hardcore into the competitive aspect of Magic, you're not really caring too much about the lore of it. So you really don't give a shit if it thematically doesn't make sense.
No, you're reading that text.
Yeah, you're looking at that and you're like, oh, they have a new 2-mana instant that destroys a creature that we haven't had access to. That's going in my deck or whatever. But teach their own. And I don't want to be the fun police and tell people what they should and shouldn't like. But I just think that there's too many gatekeepers and there's too many people out there that are just like shitting on top of everything, just for the sake of thinking that they got the next hot take. and I don't think
and that's what we don't really shit on stuff here. It's not that we love everything, but and another thing, the best way to keep Paper Magic is to not be a gatekeeper and teach your friends, teach people, support it, the community of it,
Oh yeah,
that's the best way to keep it around.
right.
So
yep. So just to finish up real quick, this is literally the last two things. So they're just for anybody that was sticking around for the nitty gritty. I mean, this is all free information everybody can get after access to. But there's going to be 46 packs or their, what do they call them, packets. 46 packets, I think is what I saw. I'm trying to get the actual, where did that go? Sorry guys. So yeah, I think it's 46 packets. And then included in those packets are going to be there's 782 cards are part of this Jumpstart release. 372 of those cards are new to MTG Arena cards, and then that breaks down to 13 mythics, 56 rares, 123 uncommons, and 180 commons. So if you're a completionist, start hoarding those wild cards.
Yeah,
and then this for you, Travis, and so you know what we're talking about with wild cards. This is one of the things I think is the coolest about MTG Arena, is that every so often in your packs you will get a wild card that could be of any of the different rarities, so common, uncommon, rare, and mythic rare. Or there's like a little tracker on the upper right of your, whenever you're opening packs. So when you open up so many packs, you automatically get a rare wild card, and then if you open up so many, you get a mythic rare wild card. And the cool thing about that is that you use those wild cards to craft a equivalent version of those. And so for longtime listeners, I'm sorry I always use this example, but it's something that's easiest for you, Travis, to understand, is that, say there's that like Jace the Mind Sculptor of the current format. There's just that card that in paper it costs like $100, whatever. Well, on Arena, you can use a mythic rare wild card if Jace the Mind Sculptor is mythic rare to create that card. So it doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't matter if that mythic rare is 50 cents or $50.
Yeah.
You can just use a wild card to create whatever you want. I kind of like that because it keeps to a certain extent the on the Magic Arena, you don't necessarily have like the big wallet wins type of scenario that you have like in Paper Magic, where you show up at your FNM and it's like, well, yeah, the dude that can afford all like the really good mythic and stuff like that, he's obviously got an upper hand. Now, somebody can make the argument that if you have a lot of disposable income, you can open up a shit ton of packs and have way more wild cards than other people. But I just think it keeps it more on an equal footing.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that's it. That's that new thing. So, yep. I mean, it's new territory. It's something that hasn't necessarily been explored before as far as like the digital only. But at the same time, you know, this time last year they had the Walking Dead set come out for Secret Lair, and that introduced paper Magic cards that were unique to only that Secret Lair, and everybody thought the sky was falling then, and it hasn't really panned out to much of anything. So
no, I mean,
it's they're keeping up with the times. They have a product. They're trying to support both products. They're trying to make things fun and exciting for the paper Magic players, but they're also trying to make things fun and exciting for the people that maybe only play Arena.
I mean, right now is like
I think that supporting Arena is very important, because I know a lot of people back in the day when I first got into Magic that their pathway to Magic was through the Duels of the Planeswalkers that they had on Xbox and PlayStation and that. And it was kind of like an Arena version of Magic on your gaming console. I mean, Doug, that's how Doug learned how to play. He downloaded that for free on his Xbox or whatever, and learned how to play it, and
Oh.
then was at the store and saw Magic cards, and he was like, "Oh wow, this is like," and then so he bought Magic cards and started playing with
Oh,
one
shit.
of his friends or whatever, and then he got into paper Magic through. So that's why I think that supporting a free to play game like Arena, it is important. I don't want to see it eclipse Magic or paper Magic, because to me the fun of Magic is always going to be that personal interaction of sitting across from somebody and feeling the cards and just whatever. And
it's the tactile.
That's not going to ever change. But that second close thing to me is like, hey, whether I got to play Arena or play Jumpstart Spell Table with you over the computer, at least I'm slinging cardboard in one way or another.
Exactly. So. And I don't, and Arena might not be a thing for me because I don't play Magic enough to have a secondary version of it.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, but who knows? I mean, it's just, Wizards is putting a lot into Magic and Dungeons and Dragons, and you can see it with, even though it was kind of a not the best game, with the Icewind Dale or whatever, Dark Alliance, but there's a movie coming out. This is for Dungeons and Dragons, like the Dark Alliance game, the movie. A lot of books are coming out. You have Dungeons and Dragons crossing over with Magic. You have Magic pumping a lot of stuff. So it's like they're riding this wave of 2020, into a lot of things, which is good. They're investing into, our investment into the game. They're taking all of that fan support and, trying to do new things. So,
yep. All right. So
yeah.
You want to take the lead on.
So the past two series that I really jumped into since we started, this channel was Ikoria and Kaldheim, Zendikar Rising. I have an EDH deck from that one.
I was going to say, okay, you did buy the EDH deck.
I have an EDH deck, which I was excited for that, but that was actually my first EDH deck. But now I feel like I've got my spending down with this, so I ended up getting two pre-con decks. I got Draconic Rage, which is still packaged. Which this was the one I picked up in store. This is very much in my wheelhouse of red green or green red. My very comfortable play style. So I wanted to get one that I knew I could out of the box play. But then the one that I kind of got a little bit out of my comfort zone was, I think it's called the Deadly Dungeons one, which I opened it and sleeved it. So, and why can't they give you a paper box that holds all cards sleeved?
Wait, did you sleeve it?
Yeah, I sleeved it up so we can play.
It's not fit, but it doesn't fit?
No.
Fuck.
Yeah. It's in.
I thought it did.
It's in part of my Dragon Shield box. So all my EDH decks are 2 boxes. I mean, maybe I can cram it in there, but I mean, there's some space because I only put 75 in there. But yeah, there's definitely not enough room.
All right, give me 1 second. I got you right here. There it is. It is.
That was Deadly Dungeons.
It's Dungeons of Death.
Dungeons of Death.
Yeah.
But
so I'm assuming that that's going to focus on the.
It focuses on the dungeons. That's why I wanted it, because I'm like, this is one of the main components of this new series is jumping into these dungeons. So I'm like, I'm gonna get this one, and I did a little bit.
That's not a dungeon. That's a dungeon.
That's a dungeon.
The bundle, the 10 packs that come with a spin down, it came with the 3 oversized versions of those.
Oh, I was like, it's the same one, but it really
it's
putting it so close. Yeah,
there's a regular card.
I
didn't know that. I opened it up and I went to open it up and it like fell out and I was like, the fuck is this? I was like, holy shit, it's oversized dungeons.
So definitely wanted to get that, and then I bought just an OG pack, and then I didn't know this. This was the last one, and this is why I got it, because It's the Forgotten Realms dungeon theme. It's the theme booster with the dungeons, which I don't know.
I tried to find that, and I had to settle for the fucking green one.
Yeah, so it's all they had all the colors, and then they had this one, and it's like this weird like Dijon mustard color,
Right.
and I was like, this isn't any of the. So I took it out, filtered through, and then put it back, and then I felt like I need to pick something, and then I grabbed it back off the rack. So I got that. But I have a couple questions with this new set.
Yeah. Give me one, or keep going. I'm looking
no
up.
So
I'm doing the no, that's not what I was looking for. I'm doing the here we go. Okay, we're good.
So
I was just pulling up the announcement article. So if there was anything that we needed to, just went to the mothership and pulled
mothership. So the first question is, how many of these dungeons are you allowed to have at your disposal to delve into? It comes with 3.
That's the perfect question, and I know the answer to that. So as of now, currently, those are the 3 dungeons that they have created.
Okay.
So Lair of the Mad Mage,
so this isn't going to have any new dungeons in it.
No, those 3 dungeons that you have, those are the dungeons.
Are the dungeons. Okay.
That you have, yes.
Perfect.
So Tomb of Annihilation, Fandelier's whatever, Tomb of Lost Mines of Phandelver, and Mad
Mage.
The Mad Mage's tomb. Jesus, I'm sorry, guys.
Tomb of Annihilation.
I'm trying to go off but those 3. So those are the 3 dungeons that you have. So the way that the venture mechanic works is you're gonna do whatever XYZ thing tells you to venture into the dungeon. So maybe it's when this creature comes into play, you venture in a dungeon, or you do something and you venture in a dungeon. What that means is that if you have not ventured into a dungeon yet, you're gonna pick one of those 3 dungeons to venture into, and then you're going to go into the first room. So I'm going to use Tomb of Annihilation as an example. Tomb of Annihilation, the very first room says trapped entry. Each player loses 1 life. And that's what's going to happen when you venture into the dungeon. Once you venture into a dungeon, that's the dungeon you have to stay in until you complete it. So you can't So if you pick Tomb of Annihilation and you go into that first room and then you play another card that says venture into the dungeon, the only choice you have is to continue through that dungeon. That's it. You can't say, well, I want to scry, so I'm going to pick.
You have to
go through it. Yep.
Cool.
And so any other time it says venture into the dungeon after you've entered it, all that means is you go into the next room. So do you have that Tomb of Annihilation?
Oh, so you just do every time you enter in, you just so you're gonna have to have like some sort of token to mark your place on these dungeons,
right? Yeah.
If I say enter into Lost Mine of Phandelver,
yes,
cave entrance, scry 1. So then
that's the first thing that you're gonna do.
And then the next time I enter into dungeons, I'm gonna
go. You get to choose either Goblin Lair or Mine the Tunnel. So you're gonna either create a 1/1 red Goblin creature token, or you're going to create a treasure token.
Perfect. All right.
So you're going to have to put like a little die or something on there.
Potentially, this takes you 4 turns to get through this lost dungeon.
Right. Yes.
This back one has a lot of rooms.
So the Mad Mage one is the longest, but it's one of the biggest payoffs, though, which is why it's like that. So, and then, which I don't know, man. I've been playing so. This is my take on. Now it could be because I'm playing a lot of limited, meaning draft and sealed, but I've been playing a lot of Tomb of Annihilation, which is the easiest one to get through. It's the quickest. I don't know. I personally feel like that's been one of the better ones.
Cool.
Depending on the situation.
Yeah.
But just that fact that depending on where you're at when you play it, I don't care about losing life. Just pow, each person loses 1 life. And then you go into that next room, Veils of Fear. Each player loses 2 life unless they discard a card. Half the time, I take the 2 life. I don't give a shit about discarding a card or taking the life. I've wrecked people constantly with this Tomb Annihilation, and after venturing 3 times, you get a 4/4 God horror creature token with Death Touch. So I think it's nice. I think a lot of people focus on the Mad Mage one because you draw cards and shit like that.
Oh, you meant venturing 3 times. Okay, yeah, I see what you mean. Like if you complete this dungeon, so it ends up.
Yeah, and then there's other cards in the set that care about completing a dungeon. So you'll have like a creature card that'll say like this creature gets +2/+2 if you've completed the dungeon.
Okay.
Meaning you made it through each room.
Cool.
But the way I look at it, and like I said, this is coming from a limited mindset, not a constructed mindset where you have more control over what you do.
Yeah.
When I'm evaluating these venture mechanics,
yeah,
I'm basically evaluating it on what happens if you're able to venture twice.
Yeah.
So
yeah, you might not.
I feel like that's like the closest guarantee you're going to have.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where you want to kind of evaluate those cards. So if you're putting all your stone, your eggs in the basket of, well, I'm going to play this creature that cares about if I've completed the dungeon, especially in limited, there may not be no guarantee that you're going to complete the dungeon. So, but I think it's a cool mechanic. I'm hoping beyond hope that this is going to, especially with the announcement of Magic Universes Beyond. I'm hoping beyond hope that, like, obviously it's not going to be soon, but within the next 6 months to a year, we get an announcement that there's going to be a D&D, like another D&D version of this, and so they can expound on
do like
a mechanic,
a Dragonlance or something.
Yeah, because
Man's Up Ring.
They could surprise me, but I can't see them printing new dungeon mechanics outside of a Dungeons and Dragons set. So maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they will. But I'd like to see this get expounded on a little bit. But I think flavor-wise, definitely good. Power-wise, it's not the strongest thing that you can be doing. But it's, like I said, it's definitely been a house and limited. So I've been liking it. Cool.
Awesome. All right,
man.
One last question.
Yeah.
So I was going through when I started sleeving up my stuff. And then when you look at the set, when you open it, you notice considerably this, like, I'm not going to push it up against the camera so I don't blur, but you notice that, like, there's a thick boy in there, like a really thick version of your commander.
Right.
And so I looked it up, like, what's with this thick card? And they're like, it's replaces the oversized card.
Yes.
But what does that mean? Do I take one out?
Yeah, that thick version that you got there, that's whatever you want to do with it.
Okay, so if I want to take this thin one out and just put this thick boy on the side, so I always know that this is my commander, I'll never get shuffled in, lost.
Yep.
Okay. Because I was like, I have two now. What do I do with this thick one?
So the way I look at it, the way I've always looked at the thick boy versus the thin boy is this. Your commander, give or take, obviously there's corner cases, but at this point in time with the rule changes, your commander resides either on the battlefield or in the command zone.
Yeah.
And the reason why is because any other replacement effect, so things like put target creature in the library, return it to your hand.
Yeah.
Well, no, hand is still hand. Exile, whatever. You always have the choice to move that back into your command zone. And so the way I treat the thick boys is the same way I treated the oversized cards, which was if there was ever a situation where you were in a pinch, and you really liked this commander, and your only way of purchasing it was purchasing it at a reduced rate for the
Oh,
oversized version,
yeah.
or B, you were wanting to sell the regular version
And still
to
have your
get some
deck.
money. You still have that other card, and
Cool.
it's going to be acceptable among most
Yeah,
EDH.
like you're not gonna shuffle this
Like
thick.
most EDH, like if that card, like whatever that one is you have in your hand, I didn't even see it. But if for some reason that card became like a $50 card overnight,
Yeah,
and you were like, "Holy shit, I could sell this card for $35 to a
yeah,
store and use that money to
yeah.
like beef up another deck or whatever." If you show up at any EDH night somewhere else and you're like, "Hey, I just got like the thick version of this, whatever," nobody is gonna be like, "Boo, go home, fuck you." Like that doesn't count.
Oh yeah, because the
Everybody
thick
is gonna be cool with it.
because you play with the thick version if you're just playing EDH.
Yeah,
Like,
right,
you're not gonna
exactly.
shuffle this into your, until they make a set called Thick Boy, and then all you use is thick cards.
Nice. Yeah, exactly.
All you use.
Yeah, I never actually looked at it as it replacing the big version.
Yeah.
Oh, that makes sense. I honestly didn't know why they had done it, but I was
Well,
a big fan of them doing it because, like I said, it gives you the option
Yeah.
of offloading a commander for a profit and not having that FOMO of, well, did I make a mistake? Because what if I want to build that EDH deck down the road and now I can't
It's
get that?
probably how I
Whatever
got
version of it.
It's probably how I got my one oversized card to build a deck around so cheap, because it's this giant card, because they didn't. So the two EDH decks I have prior didn't have thick ones or oversized
No,
cards.
the very first EDH decks that I know of that had the thick cards were the Strixhaven ones. So
Okay.
so a couple months ago.
Cool.
And yeah, I don't remember when it was they got rid of the oversized cards. But that was a couple years ago. Like 3 or 4 commander decks by now.
Yeah.
I just don't think anybody was ever using them,
It's a cool novelty. I mean, this is a cool
like,
novelty too. And if they find that people are like, whatever, they're probably
right.
not printing them. I mean, because it's like 100. It's over 110-pound paper. It feels like a jersey card.
Right. Oh yeah, like that's a good point. Yeah, exactly. Like one of those like
yeah. Like I feel like it's like, this isn't even card stock. This is thick.
right.
Oh, almost has like a plastic vibe. I'm trying not to bend it too much to like figure out what's in there and so I don't compromise it.
Right.
Like a bill of a hat. So that was my questions. I'm pumped to play this. Check out this new. I like this set because I feel like it's gonna really push me to like think more while I play and not just be so like Hulk smash. Which is cool, and have something that's based around the mechanic that is the reason this set kind of exists, is these cool new mechanics. You know what I mean?
Right.
Not saying that this doesn't have it, but this commander is just enraged whenever Vrondis, Rage of the Ancients, is dealt damage. You may create a 5/4 red and green dragon spirit creature token with, when this creature deals damage, sacrifice it. So it's just a very aggro deck, which is like my stuff, my style.
Well, you bought in at a good time. I mean, I personally, I feel like I will always buy new commander product. We talked about this before. I mean, I'm to the point in my, collecting and stuff like that. I could probably buy most of this stuff outright, but I love getting the precons and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
I feel like the decks overall. So if you're a recentish player in the last, I'd say like year. So the offshoot commander decks that have come out. So the Zendikar Rising and the Kaldheim commander decks, those were two apiece. They were cheaper, and the reason why is because they had less new cards and a more limited reprint pool of cards. Yeah. So you didn't get like the biggest. Obviously, Strixhaven and then this are the more bigger bang, and then going back to Ikoria too.
Yeah.
So I'm talking to you guys out there that have been playing Magic or Commander since maybe about the Ikoria times. I feel like personally, in the last couple of years, these are the better Commander decks of the bunch. I feel like the reprint value is pretty good. There are some commons and non-commons in this set that got reprinted that they were approaching like double-digit numbers. In fact, one of the uncommons, Utopia Sprawl, that's a common that was like a $14-15 card.
Oh, wow.
It's been reprinted. And I've said this before and I stick to it. I have disposable income to the point to where within reason I can almost get anything I want. It sounds like a dickheaded thing to say, but I don't mean to sound that way. I can, within reason, almost get anything. And the reason why I say that is because no, I don't want to go out and buy $100 card. I probably could, but I'm probably not going to. I'm also in this weird place because I've been playing Magic for a long time.
Yeah.
So I have a lot of stuff that I bought for pennies on the dollar years ago that are now worth awful lot of money. But that being said, I welcome reprints. I want I want people to have access to this game.
Yeah,
yes,
totally.
it's cool. Yeah, it's cool every once in a while to play a game of EDH and play a couple of like big boy cards and like kind of flex like boy. Like oh shit, you got like a $200 card. But that's not what this game is about. This game is not about flexing your wallet.
You're gonna play against me, and you're gonna be like, and I'm gonna be like, I don't know what that card's worth.
Or I'm gonna play against somebody who's gonna be like, oh, that's cool. You got that like $200 card. Well, bee sting, you're dead.
Yeah.
But no, I think that like reprint wise and stuff like that, this set's pretty exciting in that aspect. Did you want to talk about any of the mechanics or
no? I think everything everything's pretty much like very doable, except for the dungeons was what I like kind of had a thing with, but everything else seemed very
I like the what do you think about the rolling mechanic?
This is the funny thing. There was like, so I was reading the majority of my cards. Like it took me like an entire like movie to kind of sleeve them because I wouldn't read, like I would look at them as like, ooh, shiny, what is this? So there's a couple crazy cards. There was actually one card I did have some questions on, but it's buried in there. I have no idea, so I'll have to play.
Right.
I would say that the majority of my cards were read or at least scanned with my eyes before they were sleeved. I only had 2 cards that I can actually remember that had a rolling mechanic.
Oh, okay.
One was a D4 and one was a D8. May have been a D10. No, it was a D10 because I thought like, oh, cool, I'll do a non. Yeah, it was 2 D10s and 1 D4. Those were my roll cards. So even if I missed 1 or 2 out of a 100-card deck, there's only 2 to 4 cards that have that mechanic.
I saw several in mine, but
for me being a dice goblin, I was like, sweet, that means I'm gonna have a set of dice just from my magic box,
right?
So I already have an oversized 20 because I'm never going to use that for when we play D&D. So for rolling like the start of the game, I already have a cube of 6s for tokens, and so those are all randomized. Like I get like if you get like the actual token cubes, they have like 1 1 1 2 or 1 1 2 2 on them. I don't think that's going to be randomized, so you don't really want that to roll. I thought it was cool. It's a fun gimmick. I can see where anything that you're going to sell to somebody that has like a secondary component to that they don't want to do, I can see where people are going to get pissy about.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Not the end of the world, because I like literally, if you were going to play this game, like I said, like
there's people that are acting like I gotta buy fucking dice. I'm like,
you don't have to. I had two cards that I could actually tell you and just take them out. Put 2 other cards in there.
Download a free dice roller.
Yeah,
I
download
get it.
$50
That's not the
but-
same. It's not the same. It's not randomized.
Yeah,
We can go through the science behind it. I get that. A dice rolling app is not randomized like rolling an actual dice.
yeah,
But if you spent,
yeah.
and I'm talking to you people that are hating on this product, if you spent the $40 or whatever on this deck
Yeah,
and you got home and opened it up and then realized, oh, well, F my life, I've got to buy dice for this game. And you don't have the money to go and buy one, which I'm trying not to sound like I'm talking down to people, but I'm like fucking Walmart now in the board game section sells sets of polyhedral dice for like $5. And it's going to give you your D6, your D4, your D8, your D12, your D all that. If you can't afford that or buy those dice on top of this $40+
yeah.
commander deck that you just bought, then download a free
Or just remove
dice
like
roller. Or like you said, just remove
the cards. Like
I'm so sick of this whole like fuck, like these people are like ripping their hair out because of this mechanic. And I will say this: the caveat to this discussion, and I was waiting for you to finish. I'm sorry I steamrolled you. Was that's been my problem all along with this set? Is that I'm like I don't really know 100% how to evaluate it because some of these cards I may be like over evaluating them because of the lore and the love factor, because like I am like we grew up playing D&D, like we were D&D way before Magic. And so now having like Caddy Bree and Drizzt and like Bruno Armada on a card, we're like, oh my god. So like some of these cards that I may think are like dope, other people are like, yeah, this is like complete shit. And it's the same thing with dice. It's really easy for me, the guy that's got like freaking dice bag upon dice bag of dice at his disposal, to be like, just get over it and go buy dice, whatever. But I just a part of it I think is it's the bitch and the bitch.
Yeah, it's the rate.
Like you're gonna go and spend nearly $50 on a fucking commander deck, and you're telling me you can't come off of $5 to go get a couple of dice.
Well,
that's fine. Yeah. If you can't, I'm not saying like there are people that are in that situation. I get it. There is somebody that like they may have like saved up a little bit of whatever allowance or disposable income that they have, and they may be sitting at a game store and maybe they have, I don't even know what these retail for because I bought all four of mine.
It's crazy that I bought one pack off Amazon because there was a whole situation where I thought I couldn't find them and I was actually a week early. So I just pre-ordered one and then I went brick and mortar with everything else. Mm-hmm. Amazon, it was $34 and change for the Death Dungeon one, Dungeon of Death.
Okay.
The box was $42.99. I don't know how Amazon is marking those down that much. So that means they're marking up other stuff.
So you said that one of your EDH decks was 34 and the other one was 42?
They were all $33 to $34.
Okay.
And then my actual in-store one was $42.99 or $42.
42. Okay, yeah. Okay, so so that's fine. That leads me to my point. So I'm gonna cut the middleman and I'm gonna say $40. Mm-hmm. So you're standing in your local LGS, you mowed some lawns, you got your paycheck, you paid your bills, whatever your situation is.
Yeah.
And you're standing there now in your LGS with the literal cash. Like this is the money that I have to buy these Magic cards. Like if this money is gone, like if I give this LGS all this money that's in my hand, like there's not even stopping at McDonald's or Taco Bell on the way home. So I completely, because I was there, I completely can understand that person that's like, I have $80 in my hand, and with tax, these two decks that I want are going to cost, $78
Yeah.
and 54 cents, whatever. I can't pay $5 for a set of dice. I completely get that. But on top of that, I'm saying that like there are ways out for you. Like you said, you take the dice out, or take the dice.
Yeah, I get that you don't have to
or take.
Yeah.
But there's always that cynical part of me that's like, how many people out there are really in that situation, and how many people are out there just crapping on this whole idea that it's a new thing because here's the thing. If you flash back, God, like 8-9 years now, when they, at least to my eyes, invented the first double-faced card back in like original Innistrad with the werewolves. Like, oh, if you meet this condition, you take this card out and flip it over, and now it's a new card. Oh my God, Magic was ending then. Yeah, Magic was ending then, and that was like 8-9 freaking years ago.
Well, it's just
so there's always going to be that part of me that like I don't want to discredit that poor guy out there or girl out there that's like, dude, you don't understand. Like, I really wanted these 2 decks. And that was the choice I had to make, was get the 2 decks that I wanted or get 1 deck and buy die. I don't want to discredit them. But at the same time, I'm looking at you trolls that are out there bitching about this just because it's the next thing to bitch about with Magic.
It's a nothing.
They're introducing die rolling to Magic. Now we got to go buy die. And it's like, no, you don't.
No,
because you have the option to download a free app on your phone.
So there's 6 cards out of my 100 card deck that have roll mechanics. It is a D4, a D8, a D20, a D20, a D8, and a D10. Mm-hmm. I think what they should have done is, and they may have, it may only be a 4, an 8, a 10, and a 20, because you don't really use the 12 very often, Dungeons and Dragons. You don't really use the 6, but the thing is what they should have done is the 20 is like the classic. That's the logo on a lot of things. That's the thing. You see a D20 on a shirt, you know what that is. So it's cool. You already put the randomized 20 in the set. Just make these mechanics like, you get rid of the D10 or the D8. You know what I mean? Just have it be 3 dice. You know, because the Dungeons and Dragons player, like I said, in the bitter version that no one's going to see, Dungeons and Dragons is a dice heavy game. So you want that cool aesthetic of playing dice and getting those moments in, or advantage and disadvantage and stuff like that. But you don't need to have all the dice. Just do 3. Just have 3 dice and put it in with it. And I think that's where someone, for me, who I don't just get mad to get mad. I think a lot, like you said, a lot of this is just people getting mad just to be mad.
Yeah.
I think if this just rolling the dice isn't for you, 100% acceptable. That's cool. You know what I mean? Some of these sets haven't been for me. I think it's not going to become a thing with Magic. I don't think they're going to keep this mechanic in. I think this is for the Dungeons and Dragons.
No, that's why I was talking about the dungeon mechanic just a little bit ago. I don't think that the rolling mechanic is going to be a thing unless they come out with like Dungeons and Dragons 2.
To me, it makes sense to have it because of Dungeons and Dragons. You know what I mean? Because if you're trying to get people that play D&D into Magic, and you're like, dude, you get to roll dice, and you're like, oh, fuck, I got dice, you know? Yep. But I think companies should be sensitive to the fact that people are very hypersensitive to that feeling of, oh, you're making me buy a second thing, you know? And I think that's where a little bit of this is kind of on Wizards, that, you know, I can tell you, hey, just remove 6 cards. Well, what if you don't have 6 cards to remove? What if like what you said, what if you're that kid that, you know, because that happens. I mean, I get that, you know, we've all been young kids and I remember buying the Nintendo 64, and then you buy a game, and now you need a memory card because memory cards weren't a thing.
Right.
You know, so I'm gonna recreate my NBA Jam character for 2 months every time I want to play NBA Jam until I can save my character. You know, so I get that feeling, and I think that they could have been a little bit more sensitive to the consumers and had just like, yeah, there is a rolling mechanic. Dungeons and Dragons is played with 7 dice, 2 tens. Take that out. It's played with 6 dice. We're going to cut that in half, and the big box, the big boy that you got with the randomized counter or the counter, that's going to be randomized. And there's going to be like an oversized 4, which is stab right through your foot. And then and I think that the 10's cool, but the 8 is to me, the 8's really Dungeons and Dragons-y too.
Yeah.
But maybe the 10 has better numbered selection because of what you want the mechanics to do. I think that would have gone over a little bit better because maybe, you could get a $5 pack with a dice attached to it.
Right.
I think that would have been really cool. I feel like that's like, then all your bases are covered because then there's nothing for you to really complain about,
They're the same company. They're fucking Hasbro, Wizards of the Coast. They're like the same. So it's like,
and if you can
how much is it costing you to make dice,
dude, for
more acceptable to hear?
Yeah, for $20, you can sell me a box that has 2 20s, 2 10s, a 12, an 8, 4 6s, and a 4. So it's got all the dice plus extra to roll up characters. Adventure book, a mini rule book, a map, a whole bunch of cards for $20.
Yeah,
in a box.
Easy.
Easy. But
that's why I said I'm a hard person to evaluate this set because like there's so much stuff that excites me.
Yeah,
and of course I'm gonna be like, oh my god, like roll dice. I've got dice, and so
and I think
I'm trying to do like play devil's advocate and be like, to me it's no big thing, but at the same time try to be mindful of the person that's like really on a hardship. Yeah. But then there's that cynical person of me that's like, no, fuck you. You're just bitching about the dice because it doesn't matter, like what it could have been.
The person that's going to be the most hard up isn't going to be the person yelling on the internet either.
Right.
But I think, and again, we are not the audience to get mad at this. I mean, the whole reason of this show exists is just the stuff that we're into. So we're not going to talk about stuff we don't like. Yeah, we're not going to talk about stuff we don't like.
Our game that we have spent our entire, like, if there was a game on this planet that we've played more or invested more energy or time into, it is Dungeons and Dragons. And then for me, secondary to that, going back almost 12 years now of playing Magic. I'm like, okay, well, at this point in time in my life, Magic is pretty much almost on equal level to Dungeons and Dragons. And so for me, it's like you just took the best 2 worlds of my life and combined them into one.
Smash into one.
Obviously, I'm going to be a fanboy. Obviously, I'm going to let certain things go. Obviously, I'm going to look at certain cards and be like, oh my God, this card's like awesome, even though it's probably a terrible card. But there's going to be that nostalgia fucking.
The funny thing is if you look at my excitement, it was for like the theme one. I like the dungeon mechanic, but I like just the idea of these kit together. I was like excitement agnostic to the dice mechanic.
Right.
Like I was just like, man, it's fine. You know what I mean? Like I got excited about like the opportunity to have a cool set of dice in my box just because I like buying dice. But I wasn't, that wasn't the thing to make me buy it. And that wasn't the thing to push me away from it. It was just like, this is fine. You know what I mean? And not the sipping coffee while my house is burning down. This is fine. This is like, this is fine. Yeah.
Well, there's a part of my brain that in Magic that leans towards some of the chaotic things of it.
Yeah.
There's other mechanics. There's other things that, are, what we refer to as like chaos and stuff like that. And so that like one particular part of my brain that's like, oh man, I can like play this card. And I'm like totally leaving like the fate up to this dice roll or whatever. And that's the funny thing too, is that, and I don't want to muddy these waters anymore, but like certain people are kind of getting upset about this dice rolling mechanic. And I'm like, coin flipping has been a mechanic on Magic cards for like almost the entire existence.
Yeah.
There are tons of Magic cards that say if you do X, flip a coin, and this is the result of that coin flip. And nobody cared about that, but yet people are very upset about the
Well,
dice.
and I'm one of those people that like I try not to feed into the rage of things
Mm-hmm.
because I think what happens is a small group of people get angry and then you get more hits off of if guarantee you if we name this video what's wrong with the new Dungeons and Dragons Magic, we would get way more hits, which is fine. But I don't want to.
No, that's not what we're about.
That's what we're about.
Yeah.
And I think that what happens is that some people glom onto that, and it's the same, original story, but more people are now pointing towards it.
Right.
So you see 5 articles pointing towards the same, small group of people yelling. So it seems like a big group of people yelling.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm just like, I don't have the time for it. You know what I mean?
Hey, all I care about and all I know is I love it. I'm delving into dungeons. I'm rolling dice. I've got motherfucking Drizzt as ADH commander now. I can literally make.
Which one was he in?
Drizzt, huh?
Which one was he in?
I don't know if he was. I opened him.
He's not in. Yeah, he's not a commander.
I opened him.
No, he's a commander. Excuse me. He's a legendary creature, but he doesn't have a precon deck, which I think is cool.
I don't think he has a precon deck.
Which, hey, maybe in the next series.
Hey, did you? Well, if you need one, because I've got the regular now. Open that, but I got the thing I wanted. Like when I was opening my cards, I was like, I just want one thing. Well, there was a couple things, but I was like, if I could just get one thing when I was opening these, and this was it. Oh man, I can't find. It was the Drizzt. Oh, I'll just use Owlbear. It was the Drizzt that was the old school monster.
Dude, I love the old art. Old art style with like the flat monotone background and like the it almost looks like pencils but like darkened.
Yeah, so I got him. So I was like, oh, that's awesome. But I also got, which is another thing that I really wanted. I don't even know if it's worth money, but when I saw it spoiled, I was like, I got to get a copy. But when I was opening up my packs, I did get I got the Vorpal Sword.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'll have to open up these two and just see if I get it'd be cool to get a Drizzt.
Yeah. But if you don't have one, if you don't get one, I will gladly send you this.
Well, if I get
it is not like necessarily an expensive card, but there's no reason for you to try to buy.
If I get the art one, I'll send it to you.
Nice.
Because I won't. To me, Drizzt is fine.
No, I did get the art one.
Oh, you got it already? Okay.
I got both. I got the art. That was the 4th pack I opened. There it is. Got it.
Yeah, because you showed it to me. You sent it to me. Yeah, that art's looking sweet.
So that was the 4th pack I opened. One of the last couple of packs I opened was the regular Drizzt. So I have 2 copies of them, which I don't need.
That's totally old school, advanced like module art too.
Yeah.
Inside the modules.
Yeah.
All right. So is there anything else you want to hit on?
No, man. I'm just like, I didn't mean to get negative like halfway through.
Dude, I apologize too.
We're talking about the dice rolling mechanic, and all of a sudden I just went because
production. I'll cut
but
that.
No, I just
same thing.
Me personally, and so go easy on us in the comments. I know that there's some people out there, not just because of the dice rolling mechanic. I know that there are some people out there that aren't super excited about, this set, but so be it. I wasn't super excited for Kaladesh or Aetherbolt in the last few years. So I completely get that. It just happened to be like, this is a set that combines 2 of my most beloved games.
Yeah.
And so I'm obviously gonna be overly hyped and less critical of this release than people that may not be invested, emotionally invested in Dungeons and Dragons. It's going to be a lot easier for the person that doesn't know anything about Dungeons and Dragons to look at this set and be like, oh, that card's garbage, or this is stupid, or I don't like this mechanic. But I like the idea. I like the idea of taking some of our and that's where we may differ, because let's face it, they announced Universes Beyond. This is the tip of the iceberg, everybody. They've already announced Lord of the Rings and Warhammer. That's coming,
dude. And the funny thing is,
it's coming.
I'm not even.
We're literally a year or two away from Bilbo and Gandalf on effing Magic cards.
And I'm a Warhammer fan of like the art and what it is. Never played it.
Right, me too. And I'm not excited about it. Yeah, that's going to be one of those sets that when it comes out, I'm gonna be like, cool. Hopefully, there's some like cool cards that go on my cube, or I can make some EDH things up. But I am not going to be looking at the horizon of the Warhammer set coming out like I've been looking at D&D. I'm going to be looking at Lord of the Rings.
I'm excited for Lord of the Rings, but I'm also excited for the Warhammer, just because I'm like, oh, this is now my chance to play something Warhammer-y,
right,
without painting minis.
I also think it's going to be pretty cool because it's going to introduce things that have like never been in Magic.
Yeah,
like Magic's always been high fantasy. Mm-hmm. There's not really a whole lot of like guns and like weird shit like that. So
well, there's Warhammer and then there's 40K. So it's like there is like a medieval version too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, I had a brain fart.
They'll make it work. I was thinking of be excited for just like this is my takeaway for everybody. Like, be cool, and just be excited for new content, and be excited for a new player base, because I guarantee you, there's at least 100 people out there. Could be more, but I guarantee you, there's at least 100 people out there right now that are playing Magic. That the only reason why they're playing Magic is that they're hardcore freaking D&D people, and they saw this and they were like, "Oh, let's take a look at this," because we always talk about like access of games and stuff like that. Those D&D people are in the same boat. You may not be able to get together with your friends and play Dungeons and Dragons whenever you want. They may be looking at this as like, "Oh, this is my way of kind of playing a little bit of Dungeons and Dragons or whatever, or getting that Dungeons and Dragons kick." Without having to actually get a group of 4 or 5 people together to play Dungeons and Dragons. So I guarantee you we're going to be injected with a new player base of people that are going to come from the Dungeons and Dragons world, and only because of this set, because of the mechanics, because of the lore, because of the fact that you have freaking Drizzt Do'Urden on a freaking Magic card.
I know.
How cool was that?
Yep.
But no, I'm excited. I'm excited to start sleeving up these decks and firing up some spell table.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I got my first one sleeved up. I'll probably keep this one boxed so I don't end up using this one first. But cool, man. That was a good episode.
Oh yeah.
So we're probably hitting a slow period right now with some content. So if you made it this far, but we're gonna try to start getting out some regular episodes soon. We're just getting a lot of stuff kind of juggling right now, so it might be a minute between episodes. So hopefully not too long.
Sweet.
All right, man. All right, everybody. Peace. See you guys.